share insights. So bear with me for a second. Hello, everyone. Can you see my slides? Yes, you can.
Yes, yes, we can.
Hello, everyone. It is my pleasure to be here today as a keynote to the Carnegie Mellon University Africa and SWIS Africa event on empowering women, how to share your story, women in STEM. And today I'm going to be talking about owning your story and building it brick by brick. So this is me. From the introduction, you saw I'm a PhD student I'm a PhD student in computer science at Howard University, and I'm also an adjunct instructor of programming for I generally mix it up. I come from a math background, so generally I feel like I'm going to say PDA, something we do in math. So it's programming for data analytics. This is a little bit about me. I am a technologist. I love to present my work. My work is mostly at the intersection between AI and ethics, looking at content moderation, hate speech, and misinformation. When I am not doing that, working on my research or teaching or presenting my work, I love to talk at women events because I feel like we don't have enough role models. We don't have enough women don't learn a lot from each other to not make the mistakes that other women made. And I mean women are not inspired enough by other brilliant women who are working out there and then sorry, and then doing some important work. And so every occasion that I have to speak at the women event, I'm always very happy, humbled, and delighted for the event. In addition to that, when I am not doing any schoolwork or research, I like to read to little kids. My work at the intersection of content moderation, that's misinformation and hate speech, what I found out is that people generally do not even fact check some information that they have. And empowering kids to learn how to read and to want to be interested in books and something that I found could be one way of mitigating that effect. If we get more kids to be interested in finding information in books, maybe in the future we won't have this many impacts of misinformation in our society. So that's my little part in that. And also, I am also a mom. I'm a mom to 4 beautiful, amazing kids who keep me up and who keep me grounded. And I love every part of it. October 2016 is, I was a first year master student, I believe, or second year master student at Howard University. This is my daughter at the time. I had just one. And you can see a little stroller here. It was the day I decided that I need to change things around. I had just come to school with my daughter because the nanny didn't show up. And I was pushing her around, feeling sorry for myself and feeling, oh my God, nobody else here has a child. I'm in school, I have a child. And when you are a mom in school, in a new environment, because this was in the US, I had never gone to school in the US. I had been there for quite a while already, but I'd never really gone to a university at the US. So in the US. So for me, it was a new experience, and it's being a mom, being a wife, being everything at the same time. And especially this day where I had something important to do in school. I had a meeting with the dean to talk about something, and my nanny didn't show up. So I had to be pushing my daughter everywhere until when it came time for my presentation, one of the dean's assistants took my daughter and took care of her while I did my presentation. I had 2 options that day: feel sorry for myself and cry, which I did, of course, and also think, okay, what else can I do? I don't have, there's so many things that I'm doing wrong. This thing is too hard. I am not doing everything that I need to do to succeed in this. And mind you, especially at this moment, I was transitioning from mathematics to computer science. So I'm a math major by nature, but I found math was a little bit more of a was becoming too much abstract for me. So I decided to move into computer science with no programming background whatsoever. So you can just imagine the complexity of what I was going through. And everything just became, it was just pile of, everything just got harder and harder and harder. So in October 2026, this is where I was with my daughter, and I started thinking, I need to find a way to make this work. I chose to be in computer science. I chose to switch from math, and I need to do it the right way. So what did I do? I needed to find the right information. Like I said, when you're a mom, you don't have a lot of time like your other colleagues. When you're a mom on time, and you have to make sure to, if you pay for 2 hours for a nanny, you have to leave exactly at some time, and you have to arrive exactly. So you don't have to be, you don't have time to be talking around with other people in school and everything. But I needed the information because I was drowning. I didn't know how things work. So I started creating this community. I started going to people. I was very shy. Started going to people and asking, how does this work? How does this work in the US? How do people pay for tuition? And at the time, I was paying out of pocket. Imagine paying $16,000 out of pocket for one semester. That is draining. I was paying out of pocket, and I thought there must be a better way. So just chit chatting with other people, and I realized actually you can get paid to go to school in the US. You can, if you work really hard, somebody can pay for your tuition. If you are not lucky, but if you work extremely hard, you can actually get an internship at one of these big tech companies and stuff. And I asked, how much is the pay? And someone said, for 1 month, you can have $9,500 for 1 month of internship. And if you have 4 months, that's a lot of money to pay for a whole year. And then it started clicking. When you don't have the right information, it can be very dangerous. So when I had that information, I had it from the right media because I had it from people who had done internship before, who had been there, who knew exactly how it worked, who knew how to navigate the interview, because I had never done that in my life before, never worked, never nothing. So I started learning from them. I started, sitting on Zoom and then coding with them and stuff. And that's how I got better. The effort finally paid off. And I really like this quote from Elon Musk. If your friends are discussing success, stock, crypto, business, and giving you positive encouragement, you are in the wrong circle. So ladies, let's pick our friends, let's pick our partners, let's pick those we are going to be surrounded by wisely. Oops. Can you still see my screen? Something.
Yes.
Okay.
Can.
Yes, sorry about that.
It's okay.
Oops. Give me 1 second. Let me turn off my phone. Oops. So, and the effort finally paid. The effort finally paid off. I got my first internship at Intel. I was super happy. Finally got my internship, and at the time I was a mom of two, a 2-year-old and a 7-month-old. So I carried my babies, and we went to Arizona for the internship. What happened is that I wasn't prepared for an internship in the US. I was prepared to getting into the internship, to doing the interview and everything, but I wasn't prepared for the next phase. So I did not finish that internship. Can you believe working so hard to get something, and then finally you crash and burn there? You're not prepared. Arizona is different from DC. You have 2 young kids. You have to go to work in the morning, come back at night. You were not used to that. You were used to staying with them only the time when the nanny would be with them, that you would be in school, and that's it. So everything just felt so overwhelming. I will tell you, I did not complete that internship. I cried. Yes, it's okay to cry. But another advice I would have, when you cry, yes, cry. It's okay to cry, but feel sorry for yourself for 5 minutes only. Then you move on and you make a plan. That is important. What did you do that didn't work? Why didn't it work? And again, we go back to finding the information from the right media. I was talking before to the right media for a specific kind of task, but this time around, as a mom going to a new city with 2 young kids for an internship in AI, where you don't see people like me, you're in a different office, people touch your hair to make sure, wow, I love your hair and stuff like that. You are a bit, it makes no sense to you. So now I need a new set of advice, community, a new set of people to talk to. And that paid off. The next year, I actually had 2 more offers. I had another offer from Intel to be a machine learning engineering intern, and from Amazon to be a data scientist intern. I chose Amazon, and since then, I think this was one of the best choices I ever made. And mind you, when I went for that internship, I had 2 kids, and I was pregnant with baby number 3, and I was 4 months pregnant. And that was the best internship ever. So you can understand. So now you understand the importance of information. I didn't have the right information when I was at Intel. I crashed and burned. But now the load was even higher. Everything was even bigger. I had the right information from the right media, women like me who maybe didn't have any kids, but just women or a community of other immigrants who just arrived here, who knew what it was to navigate the other side of the US, different from DC and everything. And I had the right preparation. So when you have all this great information, sometimes success is inevitable. So far we have seen the importance of community and of documenting what you go through so far. Now, what does it mean to build a community? Once you have that community that has helped you do this or that or this or that, once you've had different communities for different things that you wanted to achieve, what do you do with that? Do you just, come to them whenever you have a problem? Or do you find a way to build that community, nurture it in such a way that it becomes part of your professional or even sometimes your personal life? Because you never know. You may need them at some point, or they may need you at some point. So what do you do? And one of the best things that I found for building community, building effective community, has been one, you follow up. Don't be that person who comes to someone only when they have a problem and expect that person to give in that 100%. When you follow up, generally you provide information to them. Following up means I'm checking in to see if you're doing well. And by the way, don't forget me. If I asked you something before and you told me you didn't have that information for me, I'm just following up, not to ask for it, but for you to keep that in mind, that maybe I might still need that information, or maybe to tell the person, I am still a relevant person. I still believe that you are somebody I can get acquainted, that I can stay with. Secondly, clapbacks, even as hard as it could sound. I hear that women are generally the hardest people to clap back at other women. I don't believe that. But that's but clap back. When somebody does something good, tell them you did a good job. It may not be in public, it may also be in private. And this is something that I have found has been very effective in creating and building effective community, building the right community, because that way, when you clap back, people understand you are part of my inner circle. I am part of your inner circle. You encourage me, I encourage you, and that speaks volume. What not to do, and that I found that us women, especially in STEM, tend to do a lot because we are just so privileged to be in the STEM, and then we weren't taught better. We don't talk back. We don't do this. It's to step away when it becomes hard, when it becomes toxic, when it becomes something that is depleting you of your energy and of your mental health. It is important. It is not a big deal. Just step away from it. Anything that takes away energy, anything, there's a reason why, anything that takes away from your mental health, takes away from your energy, that takes away from giving you the glow that you would have otherwise, or making you happy, step away from it. It's not a problem. It is just something to preserve yourself. And this is something that I found was very, very hard for us women in STEM, to just take some step back and say, okay, I'm not going to deal with this. I'm not going to engage with this. I am getting into this circle anymore. I have outdated my stay. I can't do this anymore. And please step away to preserve your energy and your mental health when things become complicated. Another important thing that I found, and which there's no getting around this one, is to put in the work. As women in STEM, if you're in AI and if you've gone around in conferences, you would realize that generally there is a very, very, very small percentage of you. And those that are there, if you speak to most of them, like I have done, what they're going to tell you is that they feel or they know that they're putting 4 times more energy to get where they are compared to their peers. It is not a lie, it is not a myth, it is not a badge of honor, but that's how it is. It's two ways. Rather you feel sorry for yourself and think, okay, this didn't work out. There are too many different people in this conferences. There are not a lot of people like me. Or you put in the work and get into this and get on the table and say something that will help them, but that will change the narrative. Because at the end of the day, if you are not at the table, nothing can change. At least you being there at the table means that there is that one woman in STEM who said this, had a different perspective from everybody else, and who made their voice matter. Moreover, there's a lot of people conflict these two words enough: being busy and being productive. Oh, but you can be productive without being too busy. So this is something that people conflate a lot. And I always like to tell women, especially women in STEM, if you want to have a full life, if you want to have so many things going for you and not just because life is not a monotone thing that you finish one thing, then you jump on another thing. If you want to have a full life, you will have to define and make sure that you are productive. There's only 24 hours in a day. Burn down is real. So if you get busy chasing things that are not necessary to you, you will burn down. You will be very busy, but you will never be productive. But if you take a step back, focus on what you need to do, and abstain from some different kind of decision. There's some decisions that you don't have to make. You don't have to look. You don't have to engage in. Focus on the work that needs to be done. Then there you are productive. So these are the two terms that I see people conflate a lot, especially as women and as women in STEM. We conflate a lot, which is generally not the same. Most importantly, invest in yourself. And what does it mean to invest in yourself? Challenge yourself. Challenges are not fun. They are not good. We don't like them, but they are necessary. If you want to live from one step to another, if you want to be seen in a different way, there's a saying that goes, if you want to get something you've never had, you have to do something you've never done before. So challenges are important. Invest in yourself by challenging yourself. And most importantly, ask for help. I realized that. So when I was at school and I started feeling sorry for myself and crying, nobody has a child and everything, I realized you can either do that the whole year, or you ask people, how do you do this? And when I asked, and every time I have asked, mustn't have been a Black woman like me, mustn't have been an African woman, anybody I asked would give me a perspective. No matter how they give it to me, I would take something from it, clean it up, and then make it mine, and then move on from there. So you either ask for help or you sit and you feel sorry for yourself. I prefer the former. Reward yourself. There are so many ways of rewarding ourselves. We're going to see in the next slide. Take care of yourself, and most importantly, we have to enjoy the ride. But for me, the best part of investing in yourself is always the reward. And it comes in so many different flavors. The 4 flavors that I use and which I think is the most productive is to help others. You reward yourself by building your community even better, going to those who couldn't do it and helping them out. That is one way of rewarding yourself. In the long run, when they would have something too, they will come to you. That is a good reward. Take a break. There is a saying that Black women take a break because it feels like we are always struggling to do something, hanging on to something, always fighting to get something. we never really take a break. But that is as important as chasing for that next big thing. Because when you take a break, when you recompose, when you take your time to, digest what just happened before you move forward, it gives you more ammunition to go fight another day. So this is very important. Another best way that I found for rewarding yourself is to promote you. There are so many different media for promoting yourself. Before I even started writing anything on LinkedIn, and for me, LinkedIn has been a game changer. It's LinkedIn and Medium have been a game changer for promoting my work, promoting myself, promoting what I can do. Because there's this thing that goes, has any of you ever been somewhere and then you look at social media and then you say, what this girl is saying is not even right. And then so many people are following her. Why are people following her? What she's doing is so basic. Why are people? Yeah, it's basic because she showed up and she told people that's what I can do. If you can do better, then show up and tell people that I can do that too, rather than criticize someone who's trying to do something that you would want to do if you were in the shoe. So promoting yourself is not only about, it's not about bragging, but it's about telling people, this is what I have been able to do, even as small as it could sound. It could be just, I opened this today. You did it. 99% of people don't know how to do that. So promoting yourself, it's an important part of the reward because it's a long-term reward, which you will see compounded over time. And part of rewarding yourself too is once I've taken a break, once I've promoted myself, once I've helped others with their challenges, how do I level up? Nobody wants you to get stagnant. Nobody likes stagnation. You don't want to keep staying in the same spot and promoting the same thing over and over again. You become like a broken disc. And with time, nobody pays attention anymore. You even turn out at some point because you lack new things to talk about or new things. You don't feel complete when you don't update yourself again and again. But let's get into the core of this keynote and ask the question, but why does storytelling matter in STEM? Why does it even matter? Because I believe that there is a big visibility gap. Like the example that I gave, women are smart, women are strong, but generally a very, very, very small percentage of women are visible. They know know their work. I remember it was I think it was Women's Day this year or something. Then I saw a long list of women like peanut butter, who created peanut butter, or the hair dryer, or the GPS, or the thing. And that's only now that we're talking about these women. Long time ago, if a man had done that, then the next day he would be everywhere in every city talking about the great invention that he did. But for women, I think there's also a little bit of background stereotypes, and then the way society has seen us, has told us how to be quiet, stay calm, don't make too much noise. You have to be the one that doesn't talk a lot. But there is a way of doing that. There's a way of doing that it's comfortable for you, but visibility is quite important when you are in STEM, especially as a woman, especially as a Black woman, as an African woman, not just for bragging sake, but also to let people know that this is something that was built, is something you built, and you at least take credit for. And we're going to see the importance of doing that soon. But there is a way of doing that. When you change, don't announce it, just bloom. And when you're posting about some of the visibility, it doesn't have to be, I don't know what, talking about one thing and then tomorrow you post another thing. That can be very unhealthy, and that can seem like you are not a credible person. But if you use these 4 steps that I'm going to show now, I think you can be able to produce good content, find the right collaborators, and also expand your community to have more impact. The first is be professional and be comfortable with the news you are sharing. If you are sharing on LinkedIn or any other media and you are not, you don't want to share something that you are not comfortable answering questions about. So please do your homework. If you're sharing about your article or anything, it has to be something you are comfortable with. Thirdly, be consistent, because that's the only way you can get more people to learn about your research. You can get more funding for the research you're doing. You can get more collaboration. And last but not least, stay relevant. One of the biggest, so one of I think the last point for investing in yourself was to level up. If you don't level up, you become obsolete really fast. If you're in the AI space, for example, then it's a matter of a month. After a month, things have changed so much that you don't even recognize where you were about a month ago. So it's important to always stay relevant. And my three key things for personal branding is to make your values, your voice, and your vision visible. So this is just a bit of a summary of what I've talked about in this visibility gap. Don't forget your values. What is it that you value? How do you, what is it that you value when you want to talk about your voice? What is it that in your vision? Where are you going with this? Is it something that are you going to be consistent? Are you going to stay relevant? That's where vision matters. Another reason why it is important, why storytelling is also important in STEM, is that representation matters. There is so much stereotype, especially within the African continent. Not so long ago, when I decided after high school, I decided I'm good at math. I'm just gonna go register for math at the university, and then I am gonna go to school, have all this great grades, and then everything. I came home to a family reunion. When I went to register, and then I came home, I told my dad, my parents, and everything that, yeah, I just got admitted into a math department. It's a tough math department. And then I'm like one of five girls. We're gonna rock it. But this is gonna be so cool. So I came home to a family reunion. For anybody in this call who is, I believe all of us are maybe African parents and stuff. When you come home to family reunion, people are just sitting waiting for you. Generally, that's not a good sign. Not at all. So I walking and I'm like, what? I thought we were going to be celebrating me going to math and everything. No, that wasn't it. People were scared. I'm doing math. A woman doesn't, and that wasn't so long ago. So I'm not that old. A woman don't do math because then you're never going to find a husband. Who would marry a girl who is smart and then who's smarty pants? Who would want to have this kind of woman at home? Please, you have to go for something nursing, or you have to go for microbiology. I don't even know what microbiology is, but that's what somebody said. You have to go for, and I was shocked. My family is pretty progressive. They are kind of, they are not, the kind of, you would say, no, they are not educated and stuff, but it was the current environment I was in. So humanizing STEM as women, I think it becomes part of a mission when you have this younger generation. And sometimes people will say, no, it used to happen in the past. No. It's still happening today. Having women who are in math, in computer science, in technology, in who are doing all these fantastic STEM things, just help in toning down those stereotypes, letting people understand, yes, she can be a math major and still be a good woman. I don't know whatever your definition of a good woman is, but she can have both. She can walk. She can walk and chew gum. It's not because she's doing math that this thing is not going to happen or this situation is not going to happen. So representation matters. That is one of the most important thing about storytelling, especially in STEM, because you humanize what STEM is about and you break down those stereotypes. Secondly, you become role models or you create role models. Because if somebody had told my family at some point, yeah, there is this really brilliant woman who did math and she is normal. I don't know what they meant by, yeah, she is normal, that maybe they would go talk to that woman or maybe look at what she's doing and realize, well, actually, she's a normal woman. She does everything like everybody else, but she's a math major. And so it helps not only humanize the STEM, but create role model that people will look up to if they have any issues, if they need any advice. Remember, I started this talk by saying finding the right advice from the right people. If I had found the right advice from a few women who had done internship and who had kids, I'm pretty sure I would have knocked that internship out of the park. But I had not done that. I had found my information from a young Indian, I would say Indian or Asian male who were grinding as much as I was grinding, but we did not have the same perspective of we did not see things the same way. And lastly, build better. Representation helps you build better. If you are in a community where everybody is let's say of a specific demographics, then people are going to keep having that stereotype that it is only this way that this could be done. And we're not going to build a cohesive community. So representation also helps us build better. And it also gives us professional advantage. First, when you are a good storyteller in STEM, and I know it for a fact, leadership roles generally follows. And these are roles that are that lead to you having good presence on either online or offline, building public speaking, because there's something I also heard that engineers are the worst people to promote anything. They generally do not even know how to speak. They're very shy with the hoodie, always somewhere coding and everything. But if you have that, but if you have a good storytelling, if you can easily engage with people and share your story, either technically or not, these are some of the advantages that you could have. You can do some public speaking that could be very beneficial to the community and will help you build collaboration. If you are a researcher like I am, then building collaboration is the key thing that you want to do, because that's mostly staying relevant. That's another, like I said, staying relevant, finding the other people who are building other things and learning from them, collaborating on things. And the more you do that, the more you do that, you get more funding, and then the cycle continues over and over and over again. I've talked about all these nice things, all these good things that we need to do, but let's remember, through it all, you are going to have some rejection. And the reason I started with my rejection was to put it in the heads that they are there. There is no way you are going to move through this ladder without having either rejections from people or having rejections, even having self-doubts. But it might be a powerful signal from the universe that you deserve something better. When I did not complete my internship, I thought the world was going to crash. How can I work so hard on something and not be able to complete it? That makes no sense. But after crying for 5 minutes and taking my tone back, I had better offers. So sometimes rejections might be just that powerful signal you need to guide you to the right direction. So ladies, this is some things, or ladies and gentlemen, anybody or all the people on this call, rejection it can stink. It can hurt really, really, really bad. But you have two options. You can cry about it and cry about it again and cry about it again, or cry about it and do something about it. And once you do something about it, you're in a better position to change the rejection into acceptance. The last thing I'm going to say is, once you get to that point where you are comfortable and things start coming to you, there's going to be the danger of this single story. I don't know anybody who, if any of you follow Chimamanda Ngozi and you have heard about this talk, it is going to be there. Once you start, I would say, opening doors and figuring and looking and realizing I might be the only voice that represents a specific community in this room, you are going to get into the danger of a single story. You are going to have like the moment where I think I'm a park attraction at my last internship, and I was there and people were commenting about my hair. I was so surprised that you have never seen this kind of hair, but that is what would happen when you start getting to a certain level. But that is just how the world is. some people just have that single story going for them. And sometimes us women in STEM, Black women in STEM, getting to that place is also to educate people about, you know, about the wonderful or the marvelous Black women that we are, and then changing that single story for certain people. And that is the end of what my talk today, and I hope you found it informative. Thank you for listening to the end.